welcome back to another Jay's Couple video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the entire wave of the Infinity Ultron Build-A-Figure wave. Now, this is technically the third Disney Plus wave. We had the Watch the Watcher wave, and then we had the Build-A-Figure Falcon's Wing or Captain America's Wings from 2021. Now, it took me a bit longer to get this video recorded, partly because I just wasn't doing it, but the other reason was I was really trying to think which figures were my favorite and which figures weren't. Now, the order they're in, this is not the order of my least favorite to favorite. It's just the order of, like, maybe the movies or when the shows came out or the way I review them, I believe. So, in this wave, we have Moon Knight, Mr. Knight, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, and then we have also right there Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and Sharon Carter. And then, of course, we have the Build-A-Figure, Infinity Ultron. So, yeah, that's just a little overview of the figures in this wave. You'll probably see some reviews if you've been watching the videos lately. And with that, let's now just get into my least favorite one and see who my favorite figure is from the wave at the end of the video. So, up first, we have Mr. Knight from Disney Plus show Moon Knight. Now, let me just say this. If you've been watching the channel for a while, I mentioned how Moon Knight and Loki are trying to fight between, like, my favorite spot for Disney Plus show from the Marvel universe. And Moon Knight is a really good show. I enjoyed it. But this figure is definitely not my favorite for a couple of reasons. One is that I'm not quite sure still what those weapons were supposed to be that he has. They're just kind of like small batons. They're a lot smaller than the baton that Sharon Carter comes with. And it also just comes with some fists. But the one thing that I just don't like is that he can't stand. I don't know if it's just my figure, but the legs he has, they don't work. He doesn't stand too well. I actually had him lean against the wall. So that was very disappointing. I think before I even had this wave in hand, he was like number 4 or number 2. And I think that was just based off because I enjoyed Moon Knight. So it just goes to show, even though I like some of these shows, my opinions can change within just, I guess, a short period of time once I have it in hand and get to see the actual physical action figure or model. I mean, this isn't Legos, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, I showed you what he looked like during the review. If I bring up here, you can see the figure a bit closer. His fist, Mr. Knight, his accessories, and then the Moon Knight logo right there. We've seen this before in my reviews, but I just do one quick flyby, and you can see a deeper review and everything and separately for each of these figures on the channel. But yeah, that's just my least favorite one out of the entire wave. Let's now move on to my 7th least favorite one, or however you want to word it. I see this as my 7th least favorite one. Next up, we have Miss Marvel, and I actually need to get a better, probably like an idea how I want to do all these like videos whenever I'm showing you my least favorite to favorite. I don't have like a list or like a rubric really to look at, or just in my head. I just kind of go based off what I think. Should probably get that fixed in here in the next few weeks or next time I do one of these. But here we have Miss Marvel. She's my 7th least favorite figure. And the reasons are, well, let me just say this. It's a really good figure. The head sculpt on there looks really cool from what I remember. But she just comes with some fists and really no accessories. She probably should have came with some glowing effects to represent her like powers from the bangle. And you're probably thinking, well, She-Hulk also doesn't have any accessories. Man, I'm stuttering tonight. But I'll explain that when I get to She-Hulk. But also, Miss Marvel is just a bit smaller of a figure compared to all the others, like She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Hawkeye. It's not as small as, like, say, Howard the Duck or a Rocket figure, but she's definitely on the small side. I feel like she came with some other stuff. I'm not quite sure what else she could have came with besides maybe some power effects, but it's just not a lot, I feel like, for the price you're paying for it. For $24.99, keep this in mind. Unless you find these for a deal, these cost $24.99. And I think you can actually find it for $18.99 on some websites, $22.99. So, still not too bad, but again, I just think she should have came with some other stuff. But besides that, it's a pretty cool figure. I mean, not much to say. Again, show you the box art here for a second. Here we have Miss Marvel, of course, right there. Side of the box art right there. I will say, what I'm remembering now, she does come with the body, I believe. So it makes her package a bit more beefier. I think that's how you say it. And so it makes you feel like you're getting more for your buck. But just without the Build-A-Figure piece, it's really not that much. And so I just feel like she should have came with some other items. But that is my 7th least favorite out of all the characters. So now move on to my 6th least favorite. Next up, we have Sharon Carter from the Falcon and Winter Soldier. This was the last figure I actually got in. I actually had for quite a while. It just took a while to make the review. But she's actually a decent figure. I don't mind. She's kind of like your civilian, she doesn't wear a suit, but it's basically that type of figure, just your agent type, which, I don't know, this figure I actually don't mind. She's, of course, from the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show, and she actually came with some more accessories, and she was able to stand, which is a huge highlight, because I know some of the female legs, they just don't want to stand for some reason, but actually, now that I think about it, actually all of them were standing in this wave, so that's good. But she came with a baton and kind of a blade, a knife of some sort. I'm trying to think. I can't think of probably the proper term for that weapon, but that's what she came with, and I said, pretty cool figure. I actually liked her a bit more than I thought I would, and so that is why she is at my number 6 spot. Let's now move on to my number 5 spot. Here at the number 5 spot, we actually have the Infinity Ultron Build-A-Figure. Kind of surprised, kind of like the Doctor Strange from the last wave. I did not expect him to be this low on the list. I mean, it's not a bad figure in my opinion, but I just feel like the others were a bit more better. And just keep this in mind, and say this at the beginning of the video, but all these opinions and thoughts are my own. But the reason he's down here is that just well, first of all, I just had a few complaints about the figure. One is that his cape doesn't really stay on too well, and so that just kind of became a problem when I was reviewing him. If I move my arm in here to grab him, I can show you, I think. Let's see. So yeah, so the cape's just kind of like on these hook pieces right here, and so therefore he does have a peg, but it doesn't really peg in. You gotta like really get it in there, and even then it doesn't stay in. But another reason is that his arms don't go all the way, like you can't really raise them up that much, which impacts his arm articulation, and so that's something I kind of forgot to say. He holds his weapon down pretty well, I think. It's a pretty tall weapon. Still don't know what it's supposed to be, but yeah, it's really, there's those few complaints, and I did hear that he's a bit small again because of my vision. I actually don't know how small he is compared to all the other characters from that show, but I don't know. I just feel like his articulation is hindered by his shoulder pads here and the cape, but nothing else I can really think about. I will say he's a very smooth character. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's just robotic, I guess, feel to him, I guess. I don't know. You have the stones on the chest right here. I think you can see it. There you go. I kind of wish those were a bit, well, you can see them a bit better. They're just kind of those specks or dots. I mean, they are the Infinity Stones, so they're not too big, but I don't know, just didn't feel, I don't know how to describe it. That's just how I feel about them. I didn't really complete my sentence, but anyway, we'll just put his weapon back in his hand like so. We'll just stand him back up. But I just think some of the other figures in the wave are just a smidge better. I'm not saying it's a bad figure, and just keep that in mind. If they're on the lower end here, they're not a bad figure. It's just, I don't think they're like the best, or I think there's better figures in the line. And so that's just, keep that in mind when we're going through this. But now let's move on to the number 4 spot, and so we're getting closer to my most favorites. So I guess these can now be counted as like some of my favorite figures from the wave. Next up, we have She-Hulk from the Disney Plus show She-Hulk. She is, I think, she's number 5. Huh, okay. This is number 5. I think I said number 4. Anyway, you all know. So we have She-Hulk. Now, she, like Miss Marvel, does just come with hands. That's all she comes with. Nothing else. So you're probably wondering, why is she a bit higher? Well, she's a bit taller than Miss Marvel. Actually, a lot taller. And so I just feel like it kind of you get a bit more value with this figure. So that's why she's a bit further up here. Also, I think she's a pretty cool character. I like her suit here. And I think they did a good job on the figure. She does come with just some hand accessories, so you could argue she could have came with something else. Not quite sure what else she could have came with, but sometimes there are just figures where the things that come with is just enough. And I don't know how else to explain it, but there's She-Hulk, and so that's why she's at the number 5 spot. And I just think she was a bit better of a figure than the others. But now we'll move on to my number 4 spot. So here, actually, we have number 3 right here. I don't know why I thought this was 4. I'm looking at my Moon Knight and Mr. Knight. I don't know what my brain was thinking, but this is number 3 spot. And this is actually Kate Bishop from the Disney Plus show Hawkeye. She comes with some accessories. I think, well, actually, she comes with a bow. I know that. I'm trying to remember what else she came with. I think some hand accessories. And so yeah, this is my number 3rd spot on the list. I think it was pretty cool figures from a pretty cool show. Maybe not my favorite, but I actually enjoyed it. And yeah, it represents the actor, I think, really well. Of course, it's her final suit. The only thing I wish Hawkeye and Kate Bishop came with was an extra bow where they had an arrow in the, like, already locked, and you can pretend they're pulling it. But besides that, it's not much else she could have came with. I think it gets a point across for this figure. I feel like you get enough accessories. You get at least a weapon, you get some hand accessories, and then of course you get the action figure. And you also get a quiver on the back. I don't think it's detachable, but it's there, so that's also nice. So this is now my number 3rd spot. So I'll move on to the next spot, which is number 2, which is going to be Hawkeye. Alright, so next up we have actually is Hawkeye from the Hawkeye series. It's my 2nd favorite figure, and you probably know my first favorite figure, out of all the wave, but out of the entire wave. And Hawkeye, I like the character. I'm happy to have an actual Hawkeye in my collection. I don't actually have him at all. I know they came with the Age of Ultron one, and then of course they had the Ronin. I guess I do have a Hawkeye, but not the Hawkeye I want. He comes with a bow and arrow, a quiver, which is really nice. Again, I wish he just came with a bow with, like, the arrow already in it. Maybe has a little extra accessory. I don't know how they could do that. Comes with hand accessories, and that's pretty much it. I have a complaint about the packaging. It's not even with the figure, but if anyone saw my first review, which was this guy, I believe, his plastic tray was all torn up, so I really can't take him out now because I'm afraid it'll, like, ruin it, and I don't want to do that because I like to keep them in their packages and everything. If I bring him up close, you take a closer look. It's, of course, from the Hawkeye show, his final outfit. It's a pretty cool character. You got his image on the side. Get an image on the back here. Of course, the whole wave down there. And we got an image on this side, same image. So, yeah, I'm pretty cool to have this figure. And I remember when I first saw him in stores, I was just so happy to find him because it's probably one of my most anticipated figures. At the time, it actually was. But now, next figures is now my favorite figure out of all of them. Let's take a look right now. The final figure we have here is Moon Knight. It's my favorite figure, and it's probably from my favorite Disney Plus show. At least one of them. Like I said, Loki and Moon Knight are still fighting between, like, the number 1 spot, but I'm happy I like this figure. It's such a cool figure from such a cool show. Had good articulation. I mean, the only thing I can complain about is, again, maybe the plastic packaging. It's a bit hard to get his cape out without ruining it, so if you like to take them out and then put it back in, just know that it's going to be kind of difficult putting that cape back in. He comes with his crescent moon accessories, like blades. I think he used those in the show. And I think it comes with some extra hand accessories. If I just bring them up a bit further, take a look here. Such a cool figure. And if you remember from my review, his arm, this arm actually, the one right here, actually popped off. So that wasn't good, but that was not really, like, at fault to the figure. I'm pretty sure it was just something I did to it, but popped back on. But just like Hawkeye, he has to stay in the packaging, but I'm really happy I have this guy, and from such a cool show, just like I said, probably my favorite figure, or actually is my favorite figure from the wave, is most anticipated. And yeah, I just I can't say anything else about it besides repeating myself. So I'll take a look at the entire wave and get my overall thoughts. And here we go. This is my overall thoughts of the entire wave. I think it's a good solid wave. The only figure I really just didn't like at all was Mr. Knight. The rest of them, again, were not bad, like the ones at the very end, but I just thought there were some better figures from the wave. I think it's my new favorite wave. The old one used to be the Watch the Watcher wave with the Zombie Hunter, Spider-Man, Zombie Captain America. It's kind of ironic how, or not, maybe ironic, but interesting how so far the Disney Plus waves have been my favorite. The only Disney Plus wave I don't have is the one with He Who Remains and Zombie Iron Man. And who knows, that could be my next favorite wave, but I think there's only like 4 figures I could really enjoy from that wave, but who knows. But for now, this is my new favorite wave. Like Marvel Legends wave in general. The Hulkbuster's my favorite Build-A-Figure. And then this is probably my favorite, like, just Marvel Legends wave in general, like, as I said. But yeah, so with that, I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Let me know what you all thought of this wave and some of the figures, and how would you rank some of them on your list? I'm really curious, to be honest. And just leave them in the comments below if you want to. With that, have a good rest of your day, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Take care.